Hello everyone, I'm doing this video on how to make, let's see here, on how I make the patterns for 16th/17th century pauldrons, like these. Yeah, so I'm specifically going to show, let's see here, that everything is visible there, the front. I'm specifically going to show how I make this main big piece here, and then I'm going to explain how I do these pieces and also a bit of about how I work the metal so that this pattern that I make works for me. Yeah, how I make the piece, basically, I'm going to explain to you. Right, so let's put this down. I'm going to take, I couldn't find my tape measure, so I'm just gonna use some string, if I can find. Alright, I'm back. Here are some other examples as well of the type of pauldron we'll be making. Yeah, there. So it's mainly this piece here and basically how I make the angles and such for the curve. And how a bit of how I shape it. Here's another example. Yeah, here's another example. This one is actually my main that I primarily use. And this mannequin here is made after my measurement, so you can see a bit here how it fits. Of course, this mannequin isn't wearing a breastplate right now, which this this pauldron is it's supposed to fit over the breastplate. So, but yeah, you can see here how it fits, kind of. Yeah, pretty well. Yeah, anyway, let's. Whoop. Here's an example for this one as well. It's a bit smaller, this one. Yeah. Alright, so the measurements I take. Alright, so what I do is I find the point of the shoulder. That's roughly around here. And that is like you can find where the soft part here is. There's a bone here and then it goes into the shoulder muscle. And this bone here, that's the point you want to find. So that's here roughly. And so you measure from there to the center front. Roughly you can see here the collarbone, you have the dip here, slightly below that, just below that. You measure. I hope that was visible on camera. You measure that. And now that you have this measurement, you take onto your piece of paper that you're going to draw the pattern on. You first here, let's see that where I can draw, okay, everything there and everything to here. Okay, so I'm going to draw more over here, yeah. You choose a center point. So I hope that's, let's see here. You choose there, I hope you can see it. Basically you choose a center point there and you take your tape measure, or in my case piece of string. I kept my finger here where it was, and I do a line. And I don't do it fully 90 degrees, but I do line, let's see here. cord, I guess this is not string. Wait. There. I don't do it fully 90 degrees out, I do it slightly up. I don't find that the angle is like, you can try out a bit of different angles, but I do want, maybe this is a bit too high, I think. But basically you want to draw a line and you want a bit of a curve here. Yeah, the top one I made first was actually pretty good. There. And then you take the same measurement, but to the center back. So you do from the spine, basically the center back of the spine over your, like, let's see here. So basically I do from roughly this point here, center back to the point of the shoulder. So that's there. And I do this, see here, in the same angle as I did the other one there. So let's see here. There, roughly the same angle. And I draw a line between these points here. Now this center point, that's the point of your shoulder. I want to draw a bit of a line downwards from there, like this. It doesn't have to be very big. 16th, 17th centuries pauldron, like the main pieces, they aren't very wide. So you can actually do them quite thin. I do this, which, what is it? It could be, I have a straight ruler here, about 7 centimeters. I put here. That's good enough. You can adjust this later. You can do several versions of it if you feel like it. But yeah, then I measure, basically I measure around my arm. So I do here, I take the string, let's roll it up a bit. I measure around my arm, like this, there, and I take roughly half of that there, and yeah, I fold this in, I divide this in half again, and I put, let's see here, I put the end of this at the center point and this there, which is there roughly, there, and same at the other side, let's see, there. Now I really hope this is visible for you all. And I do that with a slight curve there as well. Here you can add fancy stuff, like some pauldrons are just flat there, some have maybe a little point there. Whatever, you can do stuff here. You can also, if you want, just make it fully straight. This will give a different angle when you cut it out then later. Here, an example. This one, you can see here, this is for a much larger guy than me. This angle here is straight, it's parallel to this one. And this pattern here is slightly curved like this. So yeah, you can do it in different ways to get different results. But yeah, that's it. I now take away a bit of material, roughly a centimeter, it's not that important, and I go down. And I do this on both sides symmetrically, roughly. A bit of an angle out. It's usually pretty good. And then you probably don't want the pauldron to go to your center front here. Maybe you want a 10 centimeter gap here in the middle between the pauldrons, or maybe you want even more. But at this point you measure from the point of your shoulder to wherever you want the pauldron to end. So let's say I want a pretty big pauldron, maybe 10 centimeters from my center. No, that's not. 5 centimeters, like a 10 centimeter gap in the middle of my chest here. Then I remove roughly 5 centimeters here. Let's see if that's 5 centimeters, if I did that right. Yeah, exactly 5 centimeters. Roughly 5 centimeters there. And now you connect this point to this point. Like that. This is where you can play around a bit with the shape of it as well. So you can do this, you can do a more like this. If you wanted to go down more on the chest pointed, you could do there, do a bit of you could do it quite large actually. Let's see if I want something like that maybe, or like that. For me, let's actually make this part here shorter for me. I want it a bit shorter. This is where you play around with the proportions you want for the final piece. And I want this to be a bit longer there. And then I will. So this one comes out a little bit further than the top. Basically, is what I'm doing here. Like that. Let's do it pointed actually, like those 17th century like pointed ones. And let's do the angle roughly 90 degrees and just round it off into the top there and make this a bit rounded as well. I want a bit more material there. Yeah, that looks good. And same with the back. With the back, you might also want the same gap. The back is usually larger because you don't need to move your arms back as much. But yeah, so maybe 5 centimeters there as well. And let's do there. So I'm doing this quite hard so it's hopefully visible on camera. Let's do square back as well. And yeah, so this is basically the pattern I have now. Now I'm going to actually, when I hit this then, I want to mark out where I want those flanges to be, the ones I talked about that stick out there to over the arm lames. And I'm going to mark those out by just doing a line here. And it's going to be something like that. And I'm going to do the same thing on the back actually here. See, I forgot to make this shorter on the back here, so I'm going to make this like this there. And then I'm going to take this and do that, and I want a bit more material here because I want it a bit more dramatic. So I'm doing that there. That's good. So basically what I will do now is cut it out, and I'll cut to when it's cut out. Alright, so I have cut the piece out there, and I have I ironed it slightly at a very low heat to get out because the paper is very, yeah, it comes in a roll, so it gets very distorted. And to just get it flat, I ironed it a bit on the, yeah, clothes iron. But basically what I do now is I get this point, and I know that it's roughly here. I am actually going to put this point slightly higher up, but this, the middle basically of this pauldron piece is going to sit on the point of your shoulder, slightly lower down maybe. And I'm going to just place this here, and I'm going to look at my mannequin and see that everything falls into place. I'm actually going to, you see this here, the part that flanges out, I'm going to add a crease there, so that it behaves a bit more like I want it to in the end. So I crease there, and I crease, let's see here, along there. There, so you see I have added a crease here, like there would be on the real armor. So now I put this here, and you can see, okay. So, what do we see on the front here? we see that this is too straight. So this angle from the point there, it was too much. We need to cut so it goes basically from the point here, it should go a bit downward. So cut there to here roughly, making it not fully 90 degrees, but almost 90 degrees, yeah. So that's that. And then if we look at the back here, and yeah, you make the changes accordingly. You can tape on extra pieces to resize and stuff if you want to add more. This, let's see here, that it looks like that it sits like it should. Yeah, there. This back actually here, it ends there where I want it to, but this ends where I want it to end. Maybe it could actually be extended a further centimeter, maybe. And this angle here is actually looking pretty good. So I'm not going to change anything on this side, but I'm going to cut a bit on this side. What I also notice is that this angles outwards, while I want it to sit more over the shoulders. So I'm also going to add, I'm going to cut it slightly shorter there, and I'm going to move this point further there, basically. I'm going to add a bit more material there, cut off there. Yeah, basically just adjust the pattern as you wish, until it looks like it should, basically. There. Yeah, now I'm going to show you a bit of how I do the shaping, and then I'm going to show you how I make the upper lame parts. And one thing too, if you have a breastplate already, it could be good to put that on the mannequin. A clothes hanger that kind of matches your shoulder width also works. If you don't have a mannequin, you could hang the breastplate on the clothes hanger and take measurements and fit it that way. Yeah, just like to show that you have alternatives. But basically here, let's see here. This is the back. What I want to do is I want to dish this whole area. I want it to be, dished. I want it to be a bowl that goes over the shoulder blades and over the back. That sits nice over the back there. So that's important. This area needs to be dished. That's the part that goes over the shoulder. So this whole area, and this area in the front here, usually doesn't have to be dished all that much. This area in the front, I'll show you how I do, is actually, if we take here at the horn of the animal, which basically what I do, because I don't actually want it to be round, I want it to fit over the breastplate and the angles and shapes of the breastplate. And that usually means, if we look at this, curving it over like this. So basically come with a rubber mallet, or a steel hammer as well works. It will just have to be planished a bit more. It'll leave more marks. But do like this, basically. Basically you go to the point and you then curve it like this. It depends on how your breastplate is shaped as well. If it's very flat in the front, you might not have to curve as much there, but you might have to curve more here as it goes around the body. If the breastplate is very globose shaped, like those Maximilian breastplates, you might have to shape a bit more all over here. But basically, just do that shape and it'll fit good. Let me get a breastplate actually so I can show you. Alright, and to make these two lames here, what I do is I go with tape. So let's see here. I'm not going to do it because I don't have any reason, and I don't have that much tape either. But yeah, just masking tape, duct tape, electrical tape, whatever. Any tape works. Masking tape I feel like works the best. Painter's tape works as well, actually pretty well. But yeah, we get this there, and you go on the inside. On the inside, you don't fall. There, you tape along the edge here. along the entire inside edge of the main pauldron piece. And you can do several pieces of tape, and preferably do a couple of layers, extend them up a bit, so maybe like stick out two or 3 centimeters out of the top, and do them 2 or 3 centimeters, so they 2 or 3 layers of tape, so they hold well. And then you take a Sharpie or something, and you just draw along the edge of the tape to make the line straight, and you take the tape off, you cut along those lines so they are all straight, and then you can put that on your piece of paper. You trace that angle and line, and maybe you add a bit more to the top, whatever, and you cut that out of steel. You shape it and dish it and all of that stuff, and you fit it to this one, and you rivet it on where you want it, or you can hold it with the vice grips or whatever. And when everything fits and is nice, that's when you do the exact same thing with the tape, but along this edge to make the next piece. And you know, some of them have like 5 or more pieces here. This one just has 2, some of them just have 1. So you, however many you want, you do it, and you just do more. And basically do this custom for every piece, because depending on how you work at that specific time, the angle might change and stuff, so the same pattern might not work twice, depending on the style of pauldron and how you do it. And yeah, and then even if you think you do it the same way, it might be a bit different. So it's always good to do it again. This one you can use every time, of course, but this one I would recommend doing differently. And these, yeah, these are just rectangles. No need to do anything fancy there. You could make them longer here and shorter there, and then I'm going to show you there. Here, let's see. On this one, for example, this is just painted to look like gold. There, see here. This is, let's see. Yeah, this one is quite short, this one is quite long, and they are all cut at an angle, but they're basically just straight pieces. Yeah, so that's it. When you attach them, you can also do a leather here, of course, like this one has. That way it gets more. This one, the leather here is broken, that's why it moves weirdly, but yeah, that way you get more movement, and it's really nice actually. But yeah, so that's just rectangles basically, and this middle piece basically just rectangle, and then you do the, yeah, like I showed you. I hope this helps, and good luck. Here I'm back. I just wanted to show a bit more what I meant with there you can what I mean with the things. There you see the angle of this fits. I can always tap it down more to make it more precise, but you see, this isn't dished. This isn't a bowl shape. This is just worked over the horn of the anvil, like this. I roll it around the horn of the anvil until I get the good shape, and it goes quite quickly actually, so you don't have to stress it that much. Yeah.